Hi guys, it's Anjali here. I am sitting on my bed in my bedroom recording this for you. I totally meant to make this video earlier today and do it in daylight, but it was an absolutely mad day at work, and I've only just got my daughter down to bed, so I'm just taking whatever opportunity, whatever time I can grab now, to make you this video. So yeah, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Dr. Anjali Pereira. I'm an ex-NHS doctor turned marketing consultant, and I'm also the founder of Disillusioned Medic. Last week, my team asked you guys if you had any questions for us, and via the anonymous question portal on our page, we got this question. How do you deal with parents who believe there is something wrong with you for making the decision to leave medicine? Um, First of all, thank you so much, Anonymous, for your question. I've got to say that telling family about this kind of thing is an issue that comes up incredibly commonly in my coaching practice. And for some of you out there, that might be for cultural reasons. I personally am from a Sri Lankan background, so I was very much brought up with this stereotypical Asian notion that medicine is the very best thing you could possibly do, the most noble profession. And so the idea of leaving it is completely unthinkable. It's insane. But even for those of you out there who don't have that cultural element, it can still be incredibly hard to tell your family that this career that you've worked so long for, that you've invested so much in, actually isn't working out for you. And it's even harder when the reaction is not a positive one. So, what can you do? Well, obviously, family dynamics can be incredibly complicated. Often, bad reactions do come from a place of love. Your family might just be worried about you, be concerned about your future prospects, how you're going to make ends meet. And in those situations, it's important to reassure your family. Tell your loved ones that you're going to be okay. But it's also important to avoid absorbing their anxieties into yourself, because those are their anxieties and not yours. It can be really, really easy to lose confidence in yourself. When you hear other people's objections, you start to question yourself, you start to doubt. But if you know deep down that this is the right move for you, then by all means reassure your family, but hold on to that sense of self, and yes, don't lose faith, in your own capabilities, really. Now, alternatively, for some people in this situation, family members might be reacting badly because they are used to having some level of control in your life. That they're used to you coming to them with your problems, they're used to you listening to their counsel and ultimately taking their advice. So, when you as an adult start to take some autonomy over your decisions, this can be a very bitter pill for family to swallow. Some of that might be because they just can't believe that their little girl or little boy is growing up, and doing their own thing. They're finding it a little bit hard to let go. But some of it might be to more sinister issues, more sort of toxic things, such as an unhealthy need for control, or fragile egos, for example. The important thing, again, to remember is that these are not your problems. And I know that's a really hard concept to get your head around when you're used to deferring to your parents' opinions. I mean, I was certainly brought up with this notion of respect your elders, because we know what's best for you. But the reality is that is not necessarily true. Only you know what's best for you, because only you are living your life and only you are experiencing your reality. So, when you receive advice or opinions from others, a good rule of thumb is to take only what is useful to you. Um, your family may have criticisms that are actually thought provoking. I mean, for example, my dad said to me, "Are you sure it's medicine and not just the NHS?" And that was actually a very valid question, and it was food for thought. So I was glad that he asked it. However, if what they say does not serve you, If what they're saying is judgmental, hurtful, inappropriate, or if they just plain don't get you, then, as I said, that is their issue to work through. And it's just not your responsibility to fix that. We had someone comment saying that their mum told them, well, perhaps you'd be better off working in a factory then, which is obviously, very much a heat of the moment thing to say, but it's really hard to hear, especially from a parent. Your parents will have their own reasons for reacting in the ways that they do. They'll have their own emotional baggage. For some people, they'll immediately jump to this idea of how your decision reflects on them. So, they're very much making it about themselves in those scenarios. And really, you end up caretaking their emotions when you're the one in need of emotional support. And obviously, that isn't ideal. It's not how it should be, but it does happen. So try to stay calm in those situations. Let them have their reaction. Don't feel bad about removing yourself from the situation if you feel that someone is being verbally or physically aggressive to you. If you feel that your personal safety is at risk, don't feel bad about walking away until things calm down. And also try not to let anyone project their view of the world onto you. I can say from experience that time often makes these things better. What seems like a giant drama today often ends up as tomorrow's old news. Um, and after a little bit of time to sort of process and think about what you said, yeah, when things are a bit cooler, often these conversations can be more productive, and people can be more willing to listen once the initial shock is over. Ultimately, what most parents want, what most good parents want, is for their children to be happy. And if you're living a life that fundamentally doesn't fulfill you, then it's going to chip away at your well-being, and it's entirely appropriate for you to want to take steps to change that. One very practical thing you can try is to make a list of all the reasons why you're unhappy as a doctor and want to make a change. That way, even when you get pushback from others, you have a concrete document that you can go back to, you can refer to, that reminds you of why you're making this decision, and that also can help you to explain your decision to other people. Um, but yeah, I think the last thing I would say is that you don't have to explain yourself to other people if you don't want to. Um, you are under no obligation to justify yourself to anyone. Often, doctors who come to me with parental issues feel that they have this kind of duty to sit through long, drawn out conversations with their families. You know, take all of the flack and answer all their probing questions, even if they're painful and inappropriate, even if their family members being abusive, and really to try to reason with all of these objections and bring their family around to the same point of view. You do not have to do this, and often it can be a fruitless task if you're trying to persuade someone to see your point of view, and they have a very, very different way of thinking. You can't control other people's minds, the way that they think. All that you can really control is your own little circle, your own actions, your own thoughts. So, you're not being disrespectful by agreeing to disagree, by valuing your privacy and drawing your boundaries. Actually, these are very healthy things to do. And at some point, your family is just going to have to accept that you are an adult who is entitled to make their decisions. Um, and, in that same vein, you may have to accept that your decisions are just not going to be accepted by your family. And it's their right as well to have their own opinion, even if you don't agree with it, and that can be really sad and really, really hard to come to terms with. But that can often just be how it has to be for now. And that's not saying it might not change in the future, but for now it may have to be like that. Um, by all means, discuss your decision with relevant parties. For example, if you're financially supporting a parent and they're worried about how your changing career is going to affect their mortgage, for example, then that would be an appropriate conversation because it's specifically about that issue. But otherwise, as I say, you do not have to explain yourself, not even to your parents. If you want to say, Mum, Dad, I've made the decision to change career. These are the reasons I'm happy to share with you, but otherwise, I would appreciate if you just respect my decision and support me through this. If you want to say that, that is absolutely your prerogative. So I hope that's been helpful. Check out the link in our page bio to read my blog, The Parental Reaction, if you want to find out how my parents reacted and dealt with my decision to leave medicine. And if you have a question that you would like us to answer, or you want to share your own experiences, share your advice on this issue, then please do post it in the comment section or send it through to us via the anonymous portal in our bio, and we will post it for you. So thank you so much for tuning in to Disillusioned Medic. I've been Anjali Pereira. Have a great day and stay inspired.